We can all agree that the OKC Thunder are the best team in the NBA right now. Maybe you have Boston or Cleveland above them, but the majority would say that the Thunder are the best. After the trade deadline, though, there is still one major flaw they did not address, and it will ultimately handicap them in the playoffs. And it will inevitably be the reason why the 5 teams that could upset them will be able to knock off the favorites come postseason time. If you are new to the channel, we will be continuing the Thunder discussion along with other big storylines and news of the week, as this is my weekly recap called In Case You Missed It. The Boston Celtics, Denver Nuggets, Dallas Mavericks, Cleveland Cavaliers, and the Houston Rockets could all shock the Thunder in the playoffs. With the Boston Celtics being an exception, the Thunder are the clear favorites in each matchup. However, with their limitation to generate consistent offense outside of SGA, in large part due to inconsistent shooting, we are looking at a Thunder team with a glaring weakness. Considering what we know about the NBA now, hanging your hat on the defensive end will allow you to overmatch nearly everyone, but with a one-dimensional offense circulating around one player, finding success and winning an NBA championship becomes infinitely more difficult. J-Dub is an all-star this year, but he is very inconsistent on the offensive end of the floor. Last year, Chet Holmgren did not show up on that end, and he has been out with an injury for the majority of the year. So expecting him to come back at the high level you would ideally want him at is just unrealistic. Everyone else on the team is amazing defensively, but you cannot rely on them to hit shots on offense as they are streaky below average shooters. Having shooters would open everything up for their young co-stars in J-Dub and Chet, but they decided to handicap themselves and make offense hard to come by not addressing knockdown shooters in the trade deadline. They have all these draft picks. They could have made a clear fix. Add Cam Johnson, add any top shooter. But instead, they opted to be a one-dimensional offense, and this can be exposed in a playoff setting. And with the exception of the Nuggets, all the teams I mentioned are great defensive teams that game plan extremely well, and they make excellent adjustments. Seeing a one-dimensional offense like the Thunder's would be a treat for all 5 of those teams. However, the Thunder's defense is so good that the offense might not matter, and they will generate enough points in transition or off of turnovers to carry them forwards. But you do also have to remember that streaky shooters can get hot and help lead the team to success. Again, streaky shooters, sometimes they can't shoot, and if that happens, the Thunder will not be able to score enough points on offense. Spin it how you want. The concerns are real, but the dominance of the team combined with SGA is just going to be too much for some teams. They have a clear kryptonite that might just get exposed. I really do want to make it clear, though, that the Thunder from top to bottom are just a nightmare matchup for everyone in the NBA, as we see nightly. Having a clear reliance on one player offensively, though, has been exposed in NBA history, and that is exactly what the Thunder's offense is this season. So do not be surprised if their decision to not add a reliable offensive player haunts them in the playoffs. A series is much different than a regular season game, and the Thunder will dominate the regular season as they have. I just can't say in confidence they are going to steamroll in the playoffs with this massive deficiency. Let me know your thoughts on the Thunder, though. I still have them as my favorites, but I look at the Nuggets right now, they look good, the Mavericks look good, and the Rockets all look good, and they can game plan and defend. I mean, the Nuggets not really, but the Nuggets would have the best player in the series, no matter how good SGA has been. And they've been experienced, and they've won a championship before, and there's nothing better than experience in the NBA. So I look at those 3 teams in the West, and I think the Thunder are very beatable, and most likely they'll play one of those 3 teams in the second round, and they could be sent packing in the second round again. Breaking news from the NBA, Mark Williams to the Lakers. The trade that was kind of shocking to the league has been canceled due to a failed physical by Mark Williams as he has a back injury. Lakers need a center. It's not just a meme anymore. They might be cooked in the playoffs now more than ever if they can't figure out anything successful. One game with Anthony Davis and the Dallas faithful got the whole AD experience as he was dominating the Houston Rockets the entire night, then boom, non-contact groin injury, and now he is expected to miss a few games. Domination to injury, the definition of Anthony Davis. I, for one, was excited watching Dallas play on Saturday, though, as a team since they were flowing. AD and Christie looked great in Dallas threads. The high-low game of AD and Gafford was on point. Klay looks competent again, and the defense was insane, blocking 17 shot attempts from the Rockets. I know losing their franchise star hurts, but the fan base needs to look at the fact the team is 10 deep with elite two-way players and will still contend for a title without an over-reliance on one player, which is going to be the downfall of certain teams. They're overly reliant on one player. This team is not. They have a great team top to bottom. After having a losing trade deadline in the eye of many, including my own, the Atlanta Hawks now face many questions about many things. What is the direction is a huge question, as they were sellers without having their first-round pick for this year, and it is completely unprotected. Yes, they traded away key rotation players after losing their second-best player for the year due to injury, and now they're going to lose more basketball games and could potentially be in the running for another top pick, yet they don't have it. The Spurs have it. How amazing is that for the Hawks? The worst part about things for the Hawks is that even after not having their own pick, they sold low and actually ended up giving up more than they got in return for both DeAndre Hunter and Bogdan Bogdanovic. Can't exactly say I loved either deal. The Hunter trade wasn't bad, but the Bogdanovic trade was horrific. They gave up Bogey in 3 seconds. Yes, they gave up 3 seconds for essentially Terrence Mann, as they would waive Bones Highland. What is the objective of that? What is the objective of the Hawks making both of those trades? I'll tell you. The Hawks' clear goal was to clear salary space for the offseason, as they now got rid of DeAndre Hunter's $21 million contract, Bogey's $17 million contract. They have 2 expirings in LeVert and Capella, who will both come off the books, taking off $22 million from Capella and $16 million from LeVert. It is as clear as ever that the Hawks made these trades with one goal in mind: to remove salary and focus on their upcoming offseason. Initially, these trades looked bad, and then we got rumblings that Trae Young is closer to leaving Atlanta because of it. But looking at it now, we know that the offseason for the Atlanta Hawks is going to be intense because of the moves they made and the financial flexibility they have to make big splashes, and I, for one, am here for it. Whether it be a blockbuster, major signings, who knows? One thing is for sure, though. If the Atlanta Hawks are not aggressive with all this money available, Trae Young will become aggressive in his pursuit to leave. But there is a method behind the Hawks' madness at the trade deadline, and it took a while for me to see it, but now it's clear as ever. My Phoenix Suns just ended the Kevin Durant era by what they did at the deadline. I'm so annoyed about it right now. Ask my friends. I'm pissed off about how the Suns approached the trade deadline. Please explain to me why we were shopping Kevin Durant, although he never asked out, but then in the process of shopping him, asked him about a trade. If we're going to shop a player and make it publicly known, we should have actually traded him, because now he feels blindsided. What little chemistry the team had is now hanging on by a thread, and ultimately, all signs point to him being on his way out after the season. I do not understand why my Suns do the things we do, but at least we get a crazy return to help set us up for the long haul, right? I mean, we can speculate all we want and sit here and say that Kevin Durant is not going to be affected in any way because of the deadline, but in reality, this is the final half of KD's Suns career, and it will be traced back to us broadcasting Kevin Durant trade rumors very stupidly. I'm in shambles as a Suns fan. Tyrese Maxey is on an absolute heater right now. Over the last 13 games, Tyrese Maxey is averaging almost 37 points a game. Yes, the last 13 games, he's averaging 37 points a game. He's on an insane stretch, and it is a shame that the 76ers can't win and are 20-31 right now. There is real reason to be worried about the Orlando Magic after the deadline, because their offense might be one of the worst I've ever seen. I'm not gonna lie, as they cannot shoot the ball at all. Like, it's ridiculous. I know we just talked about the Thunder and their inability to shoot the basketball, but they aren't even bad compared to the Magic. The shooting of this team is dreadful, and it hinders the ability of Paolo and Franz to get going and carry the team for stretches in games, as they have zero floor spacing. It isn't going to be a successful way to win basketball games going into the postseason, and if we look at the fact they are now 26-28, 2 games below 500, and are playing bad basketball, the reason to be concerned is very real. They botched the trade deadline horribly by not adding shooting, and it will be their downfall. For the Week 16 awards, we have our MVP Nikola Jokic, who averaged just under 30 points, just under 11 rebounds, and over 10 assists a game this week on almost 70% shooting. The newly acquired Dallas Maverick Max Christie looked great this week, as he averaged about 18-6 in his new threads. New look Max had a great start to his Dallas career. Your team of the week goes to none other than the Denver Nuggets, as they went 4-0 this week and simply dominated. The worst team of the week was without a doubt the Houston Rockets, as they lost all 4 of their games, including one horrific loss in Brooklyn, as the Nets shocked them. As per usual, my power rankings are on the screen now. They do get updated weekly, in case you were wondering. I hope you all enjoyed the Week 16 episode of In Case You Missed It. Don't forget to like and subscribe, as 94% of you are not subscribed to the channel. If you want to see my grades for every trade from the 2025 NBA trade deadline, click on the video on the middle of the screen, and y'all stay safe. Have a good one. Bye.